So, approaching this film, this movie, I'd like to ask you, have you got an emotional feeling with Pavarotti before the movie, and how is change after?
Not so much an emotional connection with Pavarotti, but a lot of respect for his presence, a lot of appreciation for his charisma. I recognized that he was a great artist, but I had no idea what was required of a tenor to be able to achieve that level of elite achievement in opera. So the more I learned about Pavarotti, the more emotional I became about what he had achieved and what he stood for as a man and an artist.
So there's a lot of drama in his life. So I'd like to know how came you choose a documentary form instead a classical biopic? Because I think about Freddie Mercury or Elton John. Also Pavarotti maybe can be a good biopic.
Well, boy, he's unique. He's a unique man and artist, and I think it would be very difficult. I think the right actor would have to come along and you'd say that person could play Pavarotti, and it would almost be a calling. But I think that he is such an outstanding presence that really the documentary form was the right way to, and the most dramatic way to express his story, and the most authentic way. He was at the height of his powers at a time when there was so much television coverage that we have great images of him performing and doing interviews. The gift for this audience and for me as a filmmaker were the home movies and the home videos that were not moments where he was performing for an audience or promoting himself or a project on television, but real honest, raw, emotional moments that I thought were really meaningful and emotional.
So I need an help now. Vorrei sapere la parte del mixaggio, del mix appunto della colonna sonora, dell'audio di questo film. Ho letto che lo avete fatto ad Abbey Road e che c'è stata una coincidenza di tempistiche dove c'era anche la London Symphony Orchestra e l'avete riregistrata, quindi vorrei sapere un po' come avete lavorato.
Not the London Symphony Orchestra. No, we were recording at Abbey Road, and the London Symphony Orchestra was going to come into their big concert hall and recording studio the next day. But all the microphones had been set up. So our mixer, Chris Jenkins, said, could we use the empty room and all of those microphones and re-record some of Luciano's arias so that they would have the feeling as though they had been recorded for a concert experience. And so it was a brilliant creative idea from Chris Jenkins, and they said yes. And so overnight, Chris stayed up all night recording, re-recording these tracks in that environment, the same kind of environment that the London Symphony Orchestra would use, creating a classical record.
Wow, amazing! And which is the hardest thing that you do during this movie? Which is the most challenging?
Well, the most challenging is really understanding how to tell this story in under 2 hours. You have to make a lot of difficult choices, and all of those reflect the themes and the ideas that the director as a storyteller feels are most valid in trying to give a sense of a life lived. And so there are a lot of great details, a lot of great interviews, a lot of great comments, and that we just simply couldn't use, and just didn't have time to include. So that editorial process, very rigorous, very time consuming, and you know, and you know, a complex puzzle to sort through in the middle of the night when you're thinking about the film.
Last question. As Nicolette asked to Pavarotti at the beginning of the documentary, I'd like to ask you, as an artist, how do you like people to remember you and your work in 100 years?
Oh, well, as a director, I'd like to be remembered as somebody who took chances, and explored a lot of different genres, a lot of different corners of the human experience, and tried to share them in ways that were entertaining, accessible, understandable, but you know, but also thoughtful, and with creative ambition. I'd like people to look and say, oh, he tried to make it look easy, but look, he challenged himself.
Thank you very much. Thanks a lot.
My pleasure. Thank you. I never thought about that.